more don't say. I sucker, hey, I sucker, more don't say. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, baby. All day, all night, alright. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, baby. All day, all night, alright.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Good Evening Ghana. Thank you very much for your time. It's an amazing Tuesday, isn't it? Tonight we have presentations for you from the Supreme Court in Accra. And you know the big story is that the Fix the Country conveners, and I have to say that I've been inviting them for an interview for many, many times. They have not yet obliged to come on this show and be interviewed, and I'm sure that they will take the decision soon and come. But I've been knocking at their doors for a long time. So if you know them, remind Mr. Vomaho that I've sent him text messages after the first time we spoke, and he knows that we have been asking, because people have been asking me that why don't you invite the Fix the Country people to the studio, and they accuse me of being biased and etc., for which reason I don't want Fix the Country on the top current affairs program, Good Evening Ghana. I have invited them time without number. Even yesterday I sent them text. They have somehow not responded. I cannot yet call it a decline, but I'm still knocking at their door. So if you know them, tell them that I'm looking to have an interview with them here. No holds barred interview. I'll ask them all the questions. In fact, I have sent them some of the questions before. That's a story for another day. But I have been inviting them to come. Okay. So tonight we are focusing on their matter at the Supreme Court. Earlier today, the court ruled a panel of 5 gave a unanimous decision in a certain direction that they believe favored them. The responsibility tonight will be to tell you the full legal analysis of what happened in court, the ramifications thereof, and the impact of the Supreme Court decision on the future of Fix the Country and the demonstration that we are looking to do, etc. So we'll give you the full details. You know that we'll give you the full details of the ramifications, the impact, and the meaning of the Supreme Court decision. That will be done on the touch screen to my left very, very soon. And then, before all of this happened, we had already prepared a program to discuss, in the context of religion, politics, and society, the death of the prophet T.B. Joshua of the Synagogue Temple of Nigeria. To that end, we have interviewed Dele Mamudu, Ambassador Dele Mamudu of Nigeria, who will show you that interview. He told us many serious things, and in the conversation, he kept mentioning Professor Mills and his relationship with T.B. Joshua. And Dele gave us some new secrets about the relationship between Professor Mills and T.B. Joshua. You will see that interview. We just finished recording that on Zoom because Dele is out there in Lagos, and he spoke to us this evening about that. That's an interesting one for Ghanaian audience. We'll show it to you. Then we also have prophets coming into the studio to sort of discuss the meaning of death within the spiritual context, because T.B. Joshua's death has divided opinion. Some say that he's died at an early age because he was doing the wrong thing and God wants to punish him. Some say that it is meant for anyone to make. Our prophet will be in the studio to deal with it. Now, this is a prophet that you already know. He's the one who correctly predicted Ghana's election outcome in terms of the details and in terms of even what's happened in Parliament. And so he's our good friend. He'll come in the studio and talk about that with us. But just as we're about to complete our production for tonight, this happened in France. Have a look at this video. This happened in France.
Bonjour. Bonjour, monsieur. Bonjour, monsieur. Merci. On doit saluer à Macronie. Oh. Oh. Vas-y, casse-toi de là. Oui, je vais tout ouvert carrément. Bonjour. Bonjour, monsieur. Bonjour, monsieur. Merci. On doit saluer à Macronie. Oh. Oh!
Well, so that's it's not funny, it's really serious. This is freedom of expression, this is freedom of abuse. This happened in Paris, France today, and we're going to go live to our journalist in Paris, It will be 11:30 his time. It will be around 9:30 our time to conduct a Skype interview. He has more information. The journalist we're speaking to is also a Macron insider, so he'll tell us a bit more, because it looks like there's a story behind the story, and you know that with every big story there's a story behind it. He will give us all the details just for the exclusive consumption of you, our viewers, on Good Evening Ghana. So that's our lineup for today. We'll tell you what happened in court. We will go over to France for a live interview at 11:30 French time, hopefully 9:30 our time. Now that the time is 9:19, I'm sure that we'll not be able to obey our 11:30 time, and it will shift by another 10 minutes. We apologize for that. After the break, though, we start our production today with the Supreme Court analysis on the tax screen. We'll be right back after the break.
I met Bodo Steiger through Esther Mwako. That's the first time I met him. She's the first lady that I recorded with. That's a Mitrimo Ponya Bone album, and it has that He Can Do It on it. He is the Lord. Is there anything too hard for him? He is the Lord. He has said it, and surely will do. Hold on to your faith, your confession, all the days of your life, and you will see the hand of the Lord in your life. He can do it. He can do it. Do it better for you. Far more than you can think that he will ever do. The sound engineer, he was a sound engineer for Daddy Lumba as well. So he just popped up one day and said, Tina, I have good news for you. Daddy Lumba doesn't have a backing vocalist. And I told him about you. I told him I have this young lady that can sing. I want to bring her over, so we try her. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. You like playing, like, you know, are you serious? Daddy Lumba wants to try me. I was like, yeah. I spoke about him. I told him you're very gifted. I think you can do it. We should try you. So we were living in Holland. Holland and Germany shares borders. So we drove over to Daddy Lumba. It's about 6 hours drive from Holland to Germany, where Daddy Lumba was located. So this is the very first song that I recorded with Daddy Lumba. Oh, the first sichire gumitri mane naniye. Neka baby guma suma wasingumie. Asoko here, asoko there. More don't say. Asoko here, asoko there. More don't say. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, baby. All day, all night, all right. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, baby. All day, all night, all right.
Okay, so welcome back to the show, and now we're going straight to begin our conversation for today. What happened in court? What is the ramification? What is the impact of what happened in court today? Okay, let's get onto our screen. There you go. Okay. Now, I like to do this. I have to do this all the time, isn't it? So I need to turn our legal skill this way so that it kind of makes some sense, doesn't it? All right, cool. You can see me? Yeah, you can see me. Clearly? Give them a close-up. Maybe they can't see me well. There you go. Good evening. So the Fix the Country conveners, we know who they are, and when I finish, I'm going to run some commentary on it. I hope that I'll be done in 15 minutes. Tornado, give me a time check, yeah? Okay, so you let me know every 5 minutes. Ignore that one. That's not for you. Fix the Country demonstration. So it's an online movement. It began as an online movement. Let me move on. So this is how it started. As my researchers put it together, they wrote that certain concerned Ghanaian citizens created an online trend in response to certain post-COVID economic hardships. The movement consequently gained steam, and an intention was expressed to have the online activism transferred onto the streets. This was prevented by an injunction granted by the High Court on 6th of May. Now we're giving you the background to how we got to where we are today. And that's what we are telling you. They began an online movement, and then they wanted to transfer their online activism onto the street to conduct a demonstration. We know that the 1992 Constitution permits demonstrations, and so as an expression of people's rights. So they tried to go to court, but the police went ahead of them, went to court to seek an injunction. The controversial matter about that was that the police sought the injunction ex parte. That is a Latin word. Ex parte is a Latin word that means that without notice to the other party. So the police went to court without notice to the conveners and then obtained an injunction. The further controversy about that is that there had been an earlier court ruling during a similar demonstration in a different regime. When John Dramani Mahama was president, activists of the MPP carried out an NGO they called Let My Vote Count. As a result, on the fallout of the 2012 election petition, they carried out something called Let My Vote Count. Let My Vote Count was online and was being transferred onto the street. And they had clashes with the police when they tried to demonstrate. And a high court judge at the time ruled that the police should not go to court without notice to the demonstrators to take an injunction against them. So that became the ruling. It was therefore controversial in these circumstances that on the 6th of May, the police again obtained an injunction ex parte without the other party. That's what brought the matter into high controversy. It was believed that there was some high-handedness behind it, etc. In the midst of all of that, important government ministers, including the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Interior and the Learned Attorney General, organized meetings with the demonstrators to have a conversation with them about what they were looking for. Following after that, the Finance Minister held a Sunday afternoon press conference where he sort of responded about how his government is fixing the country and the opportunities that he's developing for the youth. However, the online movement continued, fix the country. It suffered a few hitches here and there after the finance minister's expressions, but it kept on moving. There was a counter one says, fix yourself. I think that died almost immediately. But the fix the country itself has not had very firm legs to stand on. However, the Fix the Country movement people went to court, and they went to the Supreme Court to make a claim that the injunction that was obtained against them by the police is not a good injunction. It's an injunction that infringes on their rights. So let's continue with the story and see what happened. Okay, so as we write here, dissatisfied with this outcome, the conveners of the demonstration appealed to the Supreme Court of the land to have their redress heard. Now, the outcome that they were dissatisfied was the outcome that the police were able to obtain an injunction against them so that they could not demonstrate. The main reason for the police issue was that the restrictions on COVID-19 were still by and large in force, and that those restrictions will not permit any group of people to coalesce and to move, and they call that a super spreader of the COVID-19 virus. I'll come to the end and show you why today's ruling is also significant because of what happened at Sir John's funeral. But let's move on. Okay, so with this matter, the guys, the Fix the Country people, went to court seeking two reliefs that we have paraphrased as follows. Relief number one, they were seeking an order from the Supreme Court to quash the perpetual injunction granted by the High Court, not the Ninth Court, sorry about that, granted by the High Court in favor of, not if, in favor of the police against the demonstration. So they were seeking an order of the Supreme Court to quash the perpetual injunction granted by the High Court. Okay. Number two, they were seeking a restraining order. They were seeking a restraining order to be effected against the Ghana Police Service, preventing them from interfering with their human rights. This is how we captured it in our own language. So two reliefs they were seeking in court today. When you listen to the news, they don't really talk about that. But it's two reliefs they were seeking. First, they were looking for an order of the Supreme Court to quash the perpetual aspect of the injunction. So the injunction was granted, that it was granted in perpetuity. And they went to court and said, you can't grant an injunction against our constitutional rights perpetually, which is correct. We believe that is correct in law. And so they went to tell the Supreme Court that you can't, the High Court should not have done that. That's relief number one. Relief number two, they were asking the Supreme Court to restrain the Ghana Police Service from interfering with them, the Fix the Country conveners, about their demonstration and their movements and etc., etc. So two reliefs went to court. Now let's move on and see how they defended their reliefs. Now the photograph of the nice gentleman we put here is Justice Sremsai. Justice is his name. He's not a judge of the Supreme Court, but he's a very favorite lecturer of many young people at GIMPA, where he teaches constitutional law. And he writes quite a bit on Facebook. You can follow him if you like. His name is Sremsai. Now, he said as follows, that the campaigners, this were his words, insist that this order is unlawful as under the High Court's rules, injunctions granted without argument by the affected persons, which is ex parte, ought to last for just 10 days. So they went to court and made the point that the time-tested rule, and we'll show you that rule, in the civil procedure, High Court civil procedure rules, is such that an injunction, when it's granted, is granted for 10 days. An injunction granted ex parte all the time automatically would lapse after 10 days. What then happens is that the applicants for the injunction, even if they succeed, they will have to reapply within the 10-day period back to the court, this time not as ex parte, but on notice to the other party. And the police have done that, but we'll get into the story. So this is the argument that he presented before the court. The learned Attorney General, Godfrey Adame, who was in court, also presented his arguments against the arguments of the people. What did he say? He said as follows. He described the case filed by the campaigners as misconceived and completely unwarranted. He explained that under the High Court's rules, ex parte orders are to last for 10 days. He added that by the operation of the law, the order granted on May 6th, stopping the May 9th protest, has since elapsed. He therefore urged the court to dismiss the case since no order is in force currently barring the protest. So that was Godfrey Adame's argument. Let's just go through it so we understand. So he's saying that the campaigners are in court on a mischief and on a misconceived understanding of the process of the law. He also says that their application before the court is unwarranted because he's explaining that under the High Court Civil Procedure Rules, the order that was given on May 6th is given to lapse for 10 days only. And therefore, within that 10 days, it has lapsed. So there's really no order right now. What there is the application the police have filed on notice, which the conveners have notice of, about which they have been in court last Friday, and about which they'll be in court on the 14th of June. So that, as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, the Attorney General was urging on the court that currently there's actually no order in force. So if there's no order in force, then you cannot grant, you cannot set aside an injunction. You can't do anything about an order that doesn't exist, because as far as he was concerned, the order didn't exist. Okay, let's look at the what the Supreme Court said. Okay, before that, this is the rule. We reproduced this rule so that we can make the point about, you've heard me say 10 days, 10 days. Where does it say 10 days? Where is the fact of the law? It is here. It's Order 25. High Court Civil Procedures have rules. So what happens is that there's a rules committee at the court presided over by the Lord Chief Justice that designs the rules of the court. When they design it, they send it to Parliament for Parliament to approve because it becomes a sub-law. Those are called the rules of courts. That is how courts work. That's the procedure. When people finish the law degree at a university and they go to a law school in Makola, that's what they go to learn. They go to learn the procedures. So people don't learn criminal law at Makola Law School. They don't learn civil law over there. They don't learn, they learn tort law and they go and learn civil procedure. They learn criminal law, they go and learn criminal procedure. So what happens there is the procedure. It's a whole big bunch set of rules. So this is, and that's how they are called. They are called orders, order something, rule something. So in Order 25, I'm looking for Rule 9, Kweku. Is that what you've given me? Order 25, interlocutory injunction, interim preservation of order. Okay. So Rule 1 is the court may grant an injunction. So this is 25. We'll get to 9. It says the court may grant an injunction by an interlocutory order in all cases in which it appears. Sorry, I don't need this. I just need Order 25, Rule 9. This is not. This is okay. So do we have 9? Okay, this is all I need for the viewers. So Order 25, Rule 9, it says, where an order is made pursuant to an application made ex parte under Sub-Rule 3, it shall not remain in force for more than 10 days. That's the rule. That's Order 25, Rule 19. Order 25, High Court Civil Procedure. So this is what everyone is relying on. This is what the order says. It says, where an order is made pursuant to an application made ex parte under the Sub-Rule 3, it shall not remain in force for more than 10 days. Okay, so let's come to the ruling of the court today. The court in this ruling noted that the rules of the High Court allow such ex parte injunctions to last for only 10 days. We showed you that. It thus said the judge erred. The court therefore proceeded to quash that portion of the order that barred the group indefinitely. I don't know whether you get that. So what the court did today is that the High Court is not supposed to give the rule beyond 10 days. If the High Court judge gave the rule beyond 10 days, then the Supreme Court is quashing the extra days, 11 day, 12 day, 13 day, 14 day, whatever the judge did, which he did in perpetuity or he did it perpetually. All that is quashed. That's all what happened in courts today. So that's what happened. That's what the Supreme Court decided. Let's look at the Supreme Court judges. They'll put it on now. The Supreme Court judges who dealt with the matter. So the presiding judge was this man, Mr. Yawapao, and you know that Yawapao is one of the senior judges of the Supreme Court, one of the 3 seniors. He presided over the matter, and he read the ruling of the court and said that the court is excluding the other days on which the injunction was given. That injunction has lapsed. It's of no consequence right now. The police are back in court. They are back in court with the Fix the Country people. That's the point the Attorney General was making, that this is a no case at all. But anyway, the Supreme Court proceeded to give a ruling on it, and the Fix the Country people have claimed victory, and they have believed that the Attorney General has lost the case. So Yawapao was a presiding judge in the matter. There was another relief that the Fix the Country people were seeking, the second relief. They were seeking a restraining order on the police. The court refused that. The court refused to grant them that. So that is clear, and that the Fix the Country cannot proceed on a demonstration tomorrow. They cannot proceed on a demonstration the day after. They have to participate in the court processes that come up again on the 14th of June. We don't know yet whether the ruling will be on that day, but on the 14th of June is the next hearing date. So what has happened in court really is not much. It's not much. But Justice Yawapao was the presiding judge, and he was assisted by Justice Mariam Owusu, also one of the senior-most judges at the court. Is that Mariam Owusu? Okay. And then this is Justice Avril Lovelace Johnson, who was also part of the panel today at the Supreme Court. And then there were quite a few women on it. Justice Clemence Honenuga was also there, one of the senior people. Then Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu was also there. So this was the 5: Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, Clement Onenuga, Justice Avril Lovelace Johnson, Mariam Owusu, and Justice Yawapao. These were the men who delivered the judgment. So now you understand what it is. So what are the ramifications of the matter? In 2 minutes, I'll deal with that, and then we are done. The first thing is that a high court judge should not, when he's granting an ex parte application by the police to prevent a demonstration, should not do that in perpetuity. High Court Civil Procedure Rules, Order 25 Rule 9, is clear on the matter. Whatever injunction that is given ex parte must be given for 10 days only. The applicants knew that, the Attorney General knew that, the Supreme Court knew that. The 10 days had elapsed, everybody knew that, so there was no point. The police have filed another case on notice wherein Let's Fix the Country people have been served, and they had been in court last Friday, and they are going to court again. So everybody knows that, but they had filed a Supreme Court case earlier. The Attorney General urged the court to dismiss the application. The court decided to take the occasion to make a substantial ruling that judges cannot extend an ex parte grant of an injunction beyond 10 days. Okay, so that was done. Second thing, they were asking the court for a restraining order for the police not to interfere with their constitutional right. The court said, no, we can't do that. Whenever you want to demonstrate, you still have to engage with the police. So Fix the Country will demonstrate. They have to demonstrate. They can demonstrate. I may not join the demonstration. I may join, you may not join. But before they demonstrate, they will have to have the consent, maybe the concurrence of the police, and then they can go together. Right now, they are in court with the police, and whatever happens on the 14th will make a determination whether the COVID violations should permit a demonstration or not. But they have been strengthened in this COVID situation by what happened at Sir John's funeral. You know that they have also filed an application to the police asking for prosecution, with the exception of the presidents who cannot be prosecuted. All the important people who were at Sir John's funeral, they're asking for some prosecution. This makes Ghana's democracy very interesting and very powerful, so that's okay. But for what happened in courts now, it's just a Pyrrhic victory. Nothing really happened because they are in court with the police. The other point that I want to make, which is very important to me, is that where are those who have been talking about culture of silence? And where are those who have been talking about a one-sided Supreme Court that is not independent? This is very important for you. Those of you talking about a one-sided Supreme Court that's not independent, have a look at this and tell us whether the Supreme Court is independent or not. No, don't go to hide. No, don't pretend that you haven't seen it. Because whenever the Supreme Court has given a ruling, and we currently know that there's a matter before the General Legal Council about the conversations about the independence or otherwise of the Supreme Court. Those of you who have said that the Attorney General goes to court and always wins. Those who have said there's a culture of silence in Ghana. Fix the Country has won a Supreme Court case. Those who said there's a culture of silence in Ghana and that it is also being manifested by important democratic institutions like the police and the court, Fix the Country have gone to that same Supreme Court and won a judgment against the Attorney General. That's the beauty of democracy. We should all be matured and understand that when you go to court and you have lost a matter, don't quickly jump to criticize the independence of the judiciary. It's not fair to do that. It's not even good to do that. It's not mature to do that. It's unintellectual to do that. Because today, the Supreme Court, the same Supreme Court, have delivered a judgment against the Attorney General. They have delivered a judgment against the government. They have delivered the judgment in favor of Fix the Country. Fix the Country, an opposition online movement of young people who are angry with what is happening in government. They are angry with hardships. They wanted to do a demonstration. The police said, no, you can't do a demonstration. The Supreme Court is telling the High Court that you can't stop them forever from doing a demonstration. That's a victory for democracy. It is a victory for Fix the Country, but it's a victory for democracy. It indicates that those who said our Supreme Court is not independent, they should come again. And from tomorrow, I'll be looking at Twitter, I'll be looking at Facebook, and see whether there are people who have the boldness to come up and say something about this matter. Because the Supreme Court has ruled the other way. The Supreme Court has been criticized for not being independent in election petition. They've been generally criticized. Today, they have delivered a ruling the other way. Is anybody looking at it to come and talk about there's no culture of silence in Ghana, to come and talk about the balance? Let's wait for them, because this is how we build a nation. I'll end with the police statement that was released just minutes after the ruling. So this is the police statement that was released. They put it on the screen so you can read it with me. It says the Supreme Court's ruling in the matter of the Republic versus High Court Criminal Division 1 ex parte conveners of the Fix the Country protest. The above case was heard by the Supreme Court on Tuesday, 8 June 2021, with His Lordship Justice Yao presiding. 2. The Supreme Court quashed an earlier order granted ex parte by the High Court on May 6, 2021, restraining the conveners of the Fix the Country protest from embarking on a public demonstration. The decision by the Supreme Court was based on the indefinite terms in which the ex parte order was made. However, the Supreme Court refused to restrain the Ghana Police Service. That's 3. Very important. The Supreme Court refused to restrain the Ghana Police Service or their agents, assigns, workmen, or workwomen from unlawfully interfering with the constitutional right of the conveners of the Fix the Country protest from embarking on a public demonstration. 4. The substantive case between the police and the conveners of their right to demonstrate is still pending at the High Court Criminal Division 1 Accra and slated for hearing on Monday, 14th of June 2021. 5. The public is advised to disregard any call to demonstrate by the conveners of the Fix the Country protest march without complying with the provisions of the Public Order Act 1994, Act 491. And this is by Efia Tenge, Deputy Superintendent of Police, DSP, Head Public Affairs Unit in Accra. So that's the statement issued by the police. Our important intervention is that here is an example of, what do you call it? It's an example of it's the Supreme Court that's independent. Is that how we're going to say that? The independent Supreme Court. So we're going to change the narrative from the Supreme Court's not independent to, oh, the Supreme Court can be independent sometimes. And then we're going to change the narrative from culture of silence that actually the Supreme Court can speak. Yeah, that's where we end it. And we continue with the rest of the show. This is Good Evening Ghana is live. After the break, we'll be going to France. And then we'll be talking with Dele Mahmoudou. We'll take a short break now. We'll be right back.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
met Bodo Starga through Esther Mwako. That's the first time I met him. She's the first lady that I recorded with. That's a Mitrimu Ponya Bone album, and it has the He Can Do It on it. He is the Lord. Is there anything too hard for him? He is the Lord. He has said it, and surely will do. Hold on to your faith, your confession, all the days of your life, and you will see the hand of the Lord in your life. He can do it. He can do it. Do it better for you. Far more than you can think that he will ever do. The sound engineer, he was a sound engineer for Daddy Lumba as well. So he just popped up one day and said, Tina, I have good news for you. Daddy Lumba doesn't have a backing vocalist. And I told him about you. I told him I have this young lady that can sing. I want to bring her over, so we try her. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. You like playing, like, you know, are you serious? Daddy Lumba wants to try me. I was like, yeah. I spoke about him. I told him you were very gifted. I think you can do it. We should try you. So we were living in Holland. Holland and Germany shares borders. So we drove over to Daddy Lumba. It's about 6 hours drive from Holland to Germany, where Daddy Lumba was located. So this is the very first song that I recorded with Daddy Lumba. Odo fesichire gumitrimane naniye. Neka sempe guma suma wasingumiye. Asoko here, asoko there. More don't say. Asoko here, asoko there. More don't say. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, baby. All day, all night, all right. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, baby. All day, all night, all right. I met Bodo Starga through Esther Mwako. That's the first time I met him. She's the first lady that I recorded with. That's a Mitrimu Ponya Bone album, and it has the He Can Do It on it. He is the Lord. Is there anything too hard for him? He is the Lord. He has said it, and surely will do. Hold on to your faith, your confession, all the days of your life, and you will see the hand of the Lord in your life. He can do it. He can do it. Do it better for you. Far more than you can think that he will ever do. The sound engineer, he was a sound engineer for Daddy Lumba as well. So he just popped up one day and said, Tina, I have good news for you. Daddy Lumba doesn't have a backing vocalist. And I told him about you. I told him I have this young lady that can sing. I want to bring her over, so we try her. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. You like playing, like, you know, are you serious? Daddy Lumba wants to try me. I was like, yeah. I spoke about him. I told him you were very gifted. I think you can do it. We should try you. So we were living in Holland. Holland and Germany shares borders. So we drove over to Daddy Lumba. It's about 6 hours drive from Holland to Germany, where Daddy Lumba was located. So this is the very...
Okay, sorry about that. We're trying to connect to our French Skype video, and we are still trying to connect that whilst we still have the Nigerian TB Joshua matter. But earlier today, the president attended the Independence Square, where he commissioned some trucks of the Zoom Lion Ghana Limited. Now, those trucks are going to be, there are 500 of them. They're going to be picking your garbage or your bins from your house. There it is. So this was at the Independence Square earlier today when all the trucks were lined up for the president to inspect them. 100 of them fitted at the Independence Square because of COVID situation. They couldn't put all 500 there. But these are trucks that have been imported. Some of them have been fixed in Ghana, fixed by Ghanaian engineers, Ghanaian mechanical engineers, and they're doing it out there. They are at the way back behind School Junction, Asalibochi. That's where the workshop is. And the plant pool in Jowulu. All of these have been assembled in Ghana by Ghanaian hands and by Ghanaian engineers for the purpose of making sanitation, the dream of sanitation, a reality in Ghana. So this is what happened at the Independence Square today. All of these tracks were commissioned by the president in what they say is the third phase of revamping the sanitation situation in Ghana and ensuring that Accra and Ghana become very, very clean. You know that the president has said that he wanted Accra to be the cleanest city in his first term. Many people said that he was unable to achieve that. But be that as it may, the president is continuing with his efforts. And this morning at the Independence Square, this happened, where all of these tracks from the Zoom Lion Group were commissioned, distributed to all the district assemblies in the country. But they're going to begin with Accra. So you'll be seeing a lot of them, but they'll be moving in the night. And the Ghana Armed Forces is helping to design their operations, to design the operation of the tracks in the manner in which they move and collect. It's going to be very mechanical and very militarily operationalized, so that they will be able to achieve the optimum and to be able to take our garbage from us and then to send it to the right place. So filth in the city should be cleared. All those filth that sometimes we see, you're going to work in the morning and then you see such huge filth and it's heaping all over the place. It happens in Accra all the time. You see it all the time. With the commission of these tracks, hopefully that should be a thing of the past. And then the next phase is the distribution of bins to all homes and many public places. There will be distribution of bins so people can put their garbage in the bins around. And then the plan that they are undertaking is that within any 500 meters, there should be a bin at the longest. And so it could be within 100 and 150 meters. It could be within 200 meters. But that's what they have designed. So that's more pictures. I thought I was going to get a photograph of the president in there. We don't have one yet. So that is what happened today. Okay, so we do have our Skype interview ready now, and Carl is with me right now to talk to me. Hello, Carl.
Hi, Paul. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, that's not my case, but never mind.
Okay, when I spoke to you earlier today, you said you were going to the football stadium. What happened at the football stadium?
Tonight it was France versus Bulgaria, preparing European Championship next week. And we won 3-0.
We is who? France?
France, yeah.
Did N'Golo Kante play in the game?
Sorry?
Did N'Golo Kante play in the game?
There's two goals from Olivier Giroud and one goal from Griezmann.
What about the Chelsea star, Kante?
N'Golo was just fantastic, as usually.
What about the Manchester United star, Paul Pogba?
Pogba, played very, very well. I think the two players were very, very, were the best was Paul Pogba and Griezmann.
Okay, so is France going to win the European Cup this year?
It's difficult for me to argue, Paul, but I think you asked me if France can win the European Championship. Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Okay. If France wins the European Championship, Carl, I owe you a bottle of champagne.
I mean, of course, yes, yes. Not one. A box with six bottles for you, of course, yes. And
okay.
Your team.
Let's now talk about what has shocked the world today in French politics. President Macron, who was on, I believe, official assignment this afternoon, went out to meet some people, and somebody actually attacked him physically. The video has gone viral all over the world, and people are asking, what is happening in France? What's the underlying story?
Well, you know, as all over the world, we got the pandemic of COVID, which has been very difficult from the people, and since several months, we can see the people are angry, are impatient, are sometimes injurious, and the president decided to go to the field because he wants to take the temperature with the French people. And this afternoon, he done what he wanted to do, and a crazy man gave him a slap.
Well,
unbelievable. As you say, Paul, it's a very, very worse image for a country, of course. And there's a big difficult at this moment, you know, between the reciprocity between the Jews and the rights. And sometimes we like to our justice have more power to not to. We can see that image was not very good image, of course, of our country, of France.
You were saying something about the Jews. I didn't hear you. What about the Jews? You said something about the Jews. What about the Jews?
There's as we say in France, we have to make a deal win-win. And the deal is you can have some rights, but with the rights, you have to have some Jews. And sometimes, typically, when you touch the policeman, when you touch the fire style, when you touch the mayors, when you touch the president of the republic, then you touch the republic, and then you touch a country, and then it's not you spoil the country.
Okay, when you say that there are hardships in France after COVID, what kind of hardships? Is that people cannot find food to eat? They don't have money? They don't have money to buy the things they want? They cannot travel for holiday? What are some of the hardships in France after COVID?
I think the major problem we can see since more than a year now is the problem of the authority, the place of the authority in our country. We can see more and more. Sometimes some people they fight against them, they're injured, etc. And the response of the justice are not able to calm the people, to send a big message of authority. Sometimes some people are fighting between police, between mayors, like me, for example, and the response of the justice is okay, you can go back home 2 days after, etc. That's not normal. And this afternoon we spend a new level, and of course it's impossible to when I see the screen, the pictures you are crying now. It's not normal, of course. We are very disappointed.
Okay, have people lost their jobs in France because of COVID?
Excuse me, Paul?
Have people lost their jobs in France because of COVID?
Because of the pandemic?
Yes, have they lost their jobs?
Yeah, of course. It's difficult. It's difficult for the work. It's difficult for the restaurant. All over the world, it's the same problem. But in France, the government makes lots of helps for the economic. I think one of the best we can have all over the world. But that's true that some people are in difficult, of course, and some people make crazy during the epidemic because they stay home for long times. But we can't accept what we have seen this afternoon, of course.
Okay, so according to French law, what is going to happen to this guy who attacked the French president?
Can you repeat, please, Paul?
According to French law, what will be the punishment for this person who attacked the French president?
Sorry, I didn't hear very much. Okay, I can say
the guy who attacked the guy who attacked the
security.
French, the security, yes. The guy who attacked the French president, the guy who slapped the French president, will they put him in jail?
Well, I can say that the security of the president make their job, but when you have people when I go to give only hello to take some news from the people, and that person take your arm and put you a slap, it's difficult to imagine that situation. At the time he received the slap, of course, the security have give the answer, but it was of course too late. But you know, during the afternoon, the president continued to have some relation with the people he visited all during the afternoon. He didn't stop the travel he wanted to do.
Okay, a final question to you. Is Emmanuel Macron a good president?
Sorry?
Would you say that Emmanuel Macron is a good president? Is he a good president?
Yeah, I think it's he make the best he can have. But you know, in France, he was elected in 2017, and there's some yellow guard we have first. Then the epidemic, it's very difficult for a president. He make his best, and personally, I like him to go on the field, to go and visit the French people, to take the temperature of the green. Of course, I think it's the good thing. But he's not a magician. He's not a magician, and he have to finish the mandate he have to in order to be re-elected next year.
Okay, so the next election is next year, 2022, correct? Next
22. It will be the next election. Yeah.
Okay, Carl, we'll leave it here. We know that is on midnight your time in France. Thank you very much for staying with us. How do you say?
Paul.
Merci beaucoup.
See you. Good evening, Ghana. Bye bye.
Merci beaucoup et bonsoir. Okay, that's the little two-person French that I have. Merci beaucoup et bonsoir. Now we're going into the next segment where our prophet is going to join us in the studio right now, and then we talk about TB Joshua. Hopefully, we have some interesting revelations from the prophet. First, though, I spoke to Ambassador Dele Mamoudou moments ago from our master control room here at Metropolitan Television. We had two sets of conversations. The first one is on TB Joshua and religion. Watch out for the regular mention of Professor Mills and some new secrets between TB Joshua's relationship and Professor Mills that Dele Mamoudou has told us tonight. And then we had another interview about politics, which will not be part of tonight. You'll see it on social media later on. Here is my conversation with Dele Mamoudou recorded minutes ago. Ambassador Dele, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. So, how have you been, sir? We miss you in Ghana.
Oh, I've been coming in and out. I also miss you. You didn't have my time again.
Now, we are calling you on a sad but controversial matter. We know that when it comes to Nigeria, you, as Ambassador Dele, took it up upon yourself many years ago to sell Nigeria and Africa to the international world through Ovation, to change the story and the narrative of Africa, and you did an excellent job with it. Congratulations. Now, we also know that you are quite well versed in Nigerian politics and also religion. So when we heard that TB Joshua had passed, of course, that resonated around the world because he has many followers all over the world. Who is TB Joshua, by the way? For you, Ambassador Dele, speaking as a publisher and a well-traveled, globalized Nigerian, who is TB Joshua?
Well, Prophet TB Joshua was a Nigerian televangelist, if you can describe him as such, who was a global citizen. He was well sought after everywhere globally. He was such a fine gentleman, a very generous man, kind-hearted, a friend of the poor. As successful as he was, he mingled very freely with the high and mighty and also with the long-term proletariat. He was an incredible man. Our relationship spanned about 2 decades or longer. Through Ovation, I wasn't a member of his church, but I admired his great work. He was very controversial, like all great men and women. If you are great, one of the hallmarks of greatness his controversy. And as I said, he was loved passionately, and he was also hated dangerously. There were people who hated him even to the point of death.
Did he have, did TB Joshua have a relationship, a fractious relationship with the Nigerian Christian community?
Definitely. There were some Nigerian pastors or clergymen who found his style or his modus operandi very unorthodox. And so they were vehemently opposed to him. The Bible says you should not judge anybody, but they judged him. But he remained himself. He was cool, he was calm as a cucumber. And he achieved greatness. Nobody was unstoppable. He had crisis upon crisis. There was a time around 2017 when he decided that he was going to leave the country, abscond from the country and migrate to Israel. He wanted to go and settle in Israel. I was one of those who wrote him a very passionate letter that he shouldn't try it, that you do not abandon your country because of your enemies, that you have to stand strong and face all the trials and tribulations. But that's what Jesus Christ faced. So if our Lord Jesus Christ was crucified, so why would you expect that your own story will be different? You know, and eventually he settled in Nigeria, but he traveled globally. 2 years ago, he invited me to travel with him to Nazareth in Israel, and I did go, and I saw the wonders there. In fact, most of the members of the congregation, we were on a mountain where Jesus Christ was supposed to have passed some time, and you won't believe it, Prophet TB Joshua had transformed this mountain into like an amphitheater, an auditorium. He had his offices there, air-conditioned offices on this mountain. The Arab world did not like the fact that he was coming there to evangelize, and they opposed it, but he stuck to his gun. He was able to persuade the mayor of Nazareth, and they gave him the biggest security I've ever seen at any crusade. You had to travel a few kilometers to get near the venue because of security. And he provided buses for everybody to take them, except for the VVIPs. Nobody could get near the place. And the place was packed full of people from Portugal, from Brazil, from Mexico, from everywhere.
Okay, one of the
Asia.
accusations against him was that he claimed to have prophesied every major thing that had happened globally, and that in doing so, he edited videos, or his people edited videos and put voiceovers over it so that it will seem as though TB Joshua had prophesied. This was one of the main accusations against him. For us in Ghana, there was a time when the Black Starlets, the Black Satellites, the junior national team, won an international tournament, the World Under 21 Global FIFA World Cup. It was played in Egypt. And in Cairo that day, the Black Stars won the tournament out of a penalty shootout. Earlier, the Black Stars had beaten the famous Brazilians in the semi-final. The team was captained by the current captain of the Black Stars, Andre Dede Ayew, son, of course, of Abedi Pele. It was said that TB Joshua had prophesied and had actually spoken to Ayew. Story came out later that the young man said TB Joshua had not spoken with him. And that sort of fueled the allegation that Prophet Joshua and his people were editing videos to make him the claimant or the prophetic claimant of any major international event that occurred. Did people in Nigeria deal with this allegation as well?
Well, for every prophet and prophecy, there would always be doubting Thomases. And of course, he suffered like all prophets, especially at home. As I said, I am not familiar with his operations because I've never been a member of his church. but for me, he was a personal friend and brother. But I will give it to you this evening, Paul, that I had an encounter with the former president of Ghana, okay, John Fifi Atta Mills of blessed memory. This was a direct encounter between me and the former president. He, of course, was very close to Prophet T.B. Joshua. And before the election, one day Prophet T.B. Joshua had called me to ask to give him what do I think about the forthcoming election in Ghana. And this was going to be an election between Professor Atta Mills and the great Nana Akufo-Addo. And I told him that all permutations in Ghana pointed to a Nana victory. And he told me emphatically and pointedly that Nana would not win on that occasion. And I'm like, well, you are a prophet, I'm not a prophet. And unknown to me, Professor Atta Mills was actually with him at the synagogue that day. And so he told me, he said, Nana would not win, the Prof would win, and he asked me to hold on for Prof. And Prof came on the line, and we exchanged pleasantries, and he said, well, I'm with my prophet here, and he spoke highly of you. He said, you can assist me, you can support me, and I said, that's fine. And just shortly after that, I got a call from a former governor in Nigeria, governor of Abia State, Dr. Oji Uzo-Kalu. And he also asked me a similar question about Ghana. And I said, well, I think Nana was going to win. And he said, well, he got a call from Prophet T.B. Joshua asking him to offer support to the professor from Ghana. So, and I said, well, the reason I'm thinking it will be difficult for the man is that I know the man is a gentleman, is a meek character, and I know he was of limited resources. He wasn't as visible as Nana Akufo-Addo. And so he said, well, okay, the man is coming to see me. And when Prof got to him, they called me again. When Prof was returning to Ghana, he met some people at the airport, at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos. And they mentioned to him that they will talk to me. And Prof was surprised that everywhere he went, people were referring to me as if I was the ambassador of Nigeria to Ghana. Anyway, to cut a long story short, the final person to call me was a gentleman called Jimo Ibrahim, okay, a barrister at law and a top Nigerian businessman. He called me and he said, please, I want you to give me an advice. I'm under pressure from Prophet T.B. Joshua to support Professor Atta Mills. And he was doubting. He said from all investigations, they told him that the man did not have a chance, but that Prophet T.B. Joshua was insisting. Again, to cut a long story short, I told him that, well, the only thing I believe the man lacked was money. If he got enough funding, he might make it. So let's leave it at that. Let's leave out the details. And now let's fast forward. Professor Atta Mills won the election as predicted by Prophet T.B. Joshua. And you will not say that it was because he doctored a tape. Then, as soon as Professor Atta Mills won the election, the first port of call was the Synagogue of All Nations in Lagos. He came, and the prophet remembered to invite me. I still have the pictures I took with the prophet that day where we were discussing. And he called me to come over to the synagogue to meet with the brand new president of the Republic of Ghana. And I joined them. And while the church was being prepared for Professor Atta Mills, we were in an apartment where he used to stay whenever he was in Nigeria. Prof used to stay in that apartment. It was a private apartment. So I was sitting with the prof and we were chatting. And I told him, I said, sir, why do you believe so much in Prophet T.B. Joshua? I said, we Nigerians, without him, but here you are, all the way from Ghana. a president and you are in Nigeria for Thanksgiving. And Prof told me something I will never forget. He said, Chief, I am a professor. I deal with empirical facts. This man told me long before the election, when I had no chance in hell of winning the election, that I was going to win. Not just that, he told me that the election will go beyond first round, second round, and that there will even be an extra. And he gave me specific dates when the things would happen. And everything happened as he predicted. He said, as a professor, you cannot tell me that I am ignorant. That is why I am here today to give my thanksgiving to God in the synagogue.
Okay.
For me,
two more questions.
For every negative story about him, there were also positive stories. And all of them could not have been wrong. Different presidents from Ethiopia, from Angola, from Zambia, from everywhere.
Okay.
The ministers in South Africa, everybody was talking to Prophet TB Joshua.
The other important question is that, given your close relationship with Prophet, there's a story in Ghana that on the day, the 24th of July, 2012, when Professor Mills unfortunately passed, that he was on his way to see Prophet TB Joshua about his health condition, and that it was during this process that Professor Mills unfortunately passed. Is that a story that is known in Nigeria as well?
No, I'm not aware of that. I was aware that Prof was terminally ill, and anybody, whether you are president or you are a commoner, anybody can suffer health challenges. And I'm not his doctor, so I have no access to his medical files. The old man was ill.
No, it's about whether he was coming to Nigeria. The question is whether you know that he was on his way to Nigeria.
Definitely, the two most important people in your life, if you are on your deathbed, will be your doctor and your prophet. So that if the doctor can cure you, he cures you. If your prophet can also intercede prayerfully, then that is also possible, or prepare you for the journey to the world beyond. So I don't know. I'm not aware of that.
Let's come back to TB Joshua and the unfortunate passing. Now, people have interpreted his death that his unfortunate passing means that God is taking him away because he probably was not serving the will of God. Are we able to conduct such an interpretation?
For me, that's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. Anybody who knows about great people, including our Lord Jesus Christ, the Bible records that he died at the age of 33. So Prophet TB Joshua died at the age of 57, going on 58. He had lived a good life. One of the greatest Africans that had ever lived, Chief Moshood Kashima Wolawale Abiola, who died on July 7, 1998, died short of 61. He was 60. He never turned 61. He was born August 24, 1937, and he died just before he was 61. And I'm telling you, he packed 120 years into those 60 years. There are great people like that. What Prophet TB Joshua did, I can tell you that he packed hundreds of years. Many people in many lifetimes will never achieve a fraction of what he achieved in those 57 years.
Okay, let me ask another question. Now, this TB Joshua death will be recorded in the last 30 or 40 years as the second major evangelical death in Nigeria. The first one being the
Benson Idahosa.
Yes, the Prophet Benson Idahosa, in whom we are well pleased. Who also raised our commanding Papa, the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. It was said of Benson Idahosa that he prophesied his death on a Sunday church service and said that he was going to die, and then eventually he passed. And then TB Joshua is the next. Should Nigerians be worried? Should the world be worried that why is Nigeria losing prophets over 3 decades, 2 major prophets in such sort of dramatic circumstances?
Well, we have major prophets who haven't died in the last 30 years. I think the biggest in terms of the number of satellite churches all over the world is Pastor Adeboye. Okay? Pastor Adeboye, I think he'll be 80 next year. He must be about 79 at the moment. So, and he's still evangelizing, he's traveling all over the world. He has churches probably, I'm sure, not even probably, on all the continents of the world. And he's still very agile. I pray that Bishop Oyedepo will live very long. We have Pastor Kumuyi, who just turned 80. You know, Deeper Life. If you know about Deeper Life Assembly, he just turned 80. We have Pastor Abiara in Ibadan, you know, of the Christ Apostolic Church. I think Papa is over 80 right now. We have a lot of them. Okay. Septuagenarians, octogenarians. We have a lot of top pastors.
Let me ask a final question, Ambassador Dele. A final question for you then. Will this death of TB Joshua end the growth of the synagogue church? We have seen that after the death of Benson Idahosa, the growth of his church did not survive, and there are religious and evangelical connections that say that the growth of Benson Idahosa's church went to Oyedepo after the passing. Now that TB Joshua is going to be with the Lord, looking at it and looking at the history that you know, will it affect the synagogue church in its growth and impact and influence?
No one can tell you that the church that Bishop Idahosa pastored died. The difference is that because it is situated in Benin City, Benin City is quite far from Lagos. So you must know that there's a difference between Benin City and Lagos. What I can tell you is that Pastor TB Joshua had a good foundation, and his wife was hands-on, and she always mingled with the regular church people. She did not ostracize herself as a first lady of the church. You know, their simplicity is such that she would know most of the operations. And when we were in Nazareth, I watched her at close quarters because we were sitting on the same row, you know, during the services. They had 2 services spanning 2 days. I believe that she's very well loved. I believe that she's highly spiritual, and she would be able, if they transfer, I believe that everything will be transferred to her naturally. I tried to reach her this evening. I've left her a message. And we know in the coming days what will happen.
Okay. Barring COVID restrictions, we'll see whether we can come over to mourn with the people of the synagogue church during the funeral. Ambassador Dele, I have to say a big thank you to you, and we are expecting you. Okay, so that was my interview with Dele Mamudu. Prophet Henry Godson, our fullest in the studio. Hello, Prophet.
Hello.
Yeah, so let's start quickly by recapping your prediction on Ghanaian elections and how it ended. And it looks like you were right when we spoke to you. You said that you thought the president was going to win, but in Parliament, the president's party would take a hit. You didn't quite say what it was, what it meant, and how does the future portend the spiritual realm for Ghana's Parliament, politics? Anything that you know yet?
Thank you so much. We're very grateful, one, to God, to your viewers, for the opportunity to come their way the other time. I think it is very evident that some of the things that we said has actually played out, not only in this nation, in the US, and it's played out exactly the same way. Even the route on the Capitol, I mean, these are things that were spoken about initially. When we said it, it felt like disputed, but it happened. For me, I think it's still very early days, but yes, whilst I went into prayer, there are a few things that I've picked up. And 2024, we have to really work hard as a nation and again, go before God. I think it's important we all invest prayer. 3 years down the line, we invest prayer in advance into 2024. What I'm going to say is no one, like I said, I mean, when I spoke and I said the president is going to win, some people, even personal friends, I wouldn't say attacked me, but some people felt that I was being sympathetic of the ruling party, which, I mean, I'm not a member of any party, so I can speak just as I feel within my spirit. But this is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to put this on record, and I've said it to people, that I've heard people say the former president, John Dramani Mahama's time is over, his seat is packed, he will never come back. But I see that his time in the realm of politics in the nation is not over. There are a few things that he's got to do. If he does those things right, I'll watch this space, and I'm going to give you a few more details at the right time.
Now let me come back to you as I switch on Facebook, because I want to hear more about the future of John Dramani Mahama. Don't you want to hear? I want to hear. It's supposed to be a Nigerian interview, but it's turned out to be a political prediction of Ghana's 2024 elections. I'm going to ask him about who's going to succeed the president and all that. Our viewers on Metro TV, good night. Our viewers on Facebook, we continue. Good Evening Ghana Official on Facebook. You can just go on Facebook and type Good Evening Ghana Official. There's fella here, man. Guys saying a lot of things. Okay. Prophet Henry. So by that, are you saying that John Dramani Mahama is going to win the 2024 election? If he contests. We don't know yet whether he'll contest. There's news that he would. But
I think he'll contest. I don't know him. I don't know President Mahama. I don't know him. I don't have any personal relationship with him. But just as I said before, and I've been very low profile about these things. I don't really blow my horn about these things, but there's a strong conviction within me that his days in Ghana's political space is not over. And that I can tell you.
Is that what the Lord is telling you?
That is what I'm feeling strongly in my spirit, yes.
According to what the Lord is telling you?
Yes.
Okay, the MPP will have to change their candidate. So it's not very easy to tell who their candidate would be. But now the front runners in the contest is the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, the Minister for Trade, Mr. Alan Chermatin, the former Minister for the Railway, the Honorable Joe Gate, the maverick politician Kennedy Ejapon, Member of Parliament for Asin, and Dr. Owusu Efriye Akoto, the Minister for Food and Agriculture. Yep. And now we are hearing the former Minister of Trade, Kofi Konedo Apreku. All of these persons are going to contest the election. Do you get a sense of what's going to happen with the MPP? Will there be a tsunami? Will there be a volcanic eruption? What's going to happen?
I seriously felt, and again, these are things that we pray about and try to see the mind of God about these things.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Ghana is a beautiful country. There is so much of it you probably haven't seen, haven't experienced, haven't touched, haven't felt, haven't eaten. When this is all over, let's discover our land again with new eyes,